Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of my F1 2021 My Team Career Mode. This is the Russian Grand Prix in Season 2, round number 10 of 16 in this season. So it is getting closer to the end now, so we need to make sure we maximize points from here on out, because after the events of the last episode, we are well and truly in the championship fight with a great result last time out. We purchased a brake upgrade, that one that we got the discount on with the department event in the last episode, so that will be on the car soon. When we also purchase a front downforce upgrade, and we are going to rush that one. We are in Russia, so it makes sense to rush the upgrade and see if we can get it on the car in time for the Japanese Grand Prix. Hopefully, we'll see if that goes to plan. Anyway, there's the R&D chart. As things currently stand, Williams making some huge strides there and sort of joining the back of the midfield, so maybe they'll be in with a shot of a decent result. They've had a pretty tough season so far as we now get started in qualifying. McLaren also made some good strides as well in R&D. They're now the third fastest team. We are fourth, still ahead of Ferrari as things stand, but the top three teams are all very, very close. But Q1 then, and we had to do a couple of laps, and we do get through, but down in 11th place. Tsunoda having found some fantastic pace, up in second, only behind Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari, which is a car we should be faster than. So very mixed up Q1, so I don't really believe those standings as they are at the moment. We'll go into Q2 and see how things evolve in that session. So here we go then into Q2, and we'll see what happens here.
Fantastic. That was the fastest lap.
A fastest lap, and we will hold on to that time, although it is only good for 10th fastest by the end. So that's decent enough. Tsunoda in 8th at the moment, or in this session, so he did pretty well. So let's see if we can improve in the final part of qualifying. A couple of drivers, or one driver getting through on the medium compound tyres. That is Lando Norris. Two drivers. I didn't notice Max Verstappen down there, also on the mediums. So yeah, we'll see how they go in the race. That medium tyre start could be beneficial for them. Now into Q3, and this is where things really start to count. So let's hope that we can set a good lap time here and get ourselves towards the front of the grid. We haven't had great pace in qualifying so far, which is quite strange. Sochi is usually one of the tracks I quite enjoy, but for some reason the pace just not quite on my side at the moment, and we have some time to find. So we make a bit of a mistake there at turn 4, running a bit deep and missing the apex and going a bit wide. There's little mistakes like that that are just costing us little bits of time, and yeah, you sort of it all adds up. But anyway, we do 2 flying laps, same as Q1, on the same set of tyres, but taking too much curb there, and we damage the side pods. So this second lap will be compromised, although we will be able to improve on our time slightly. So the fact that we can improve on our time with a damaged car
repairs have set us back a little.
Is evidence that we have a lot of time to find. But unfortunately, as I was fast forwarding through, I completely messed up the timing of that, and all of a sudden we are out of time in the session, and we're down in 9th.
We're all ready for tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who will be fronting the grid. Verstappen, Leclerc and Carlos Sainz. Goodbye for now then, but we're really just getting started. Make sure to join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.
So that's a shame. I should have just done the one flying lap and pit as soon as we got damaged, but I saw that we were improving on the time, so I wanted to finish that lap. But realistically, I should have pit and just done another lap as soon as the car was fixed. Otherwise, we may not have run out of time. But anyway, that's my bad. We would have had more time otherwise. But nonetheless, there are the championship standings at the moment, by the way. And yeah. We are closing into the top 3, but we have some work to do in this one.
Welcome one and all to today's Grand Prix here in southern Russia. A beautiful location besides the Black Sea and a race that has historically been dominated by the Silver Arrows. Mercedes have won here 6 times since the first race in 2014. Can someone else muscle in on that record here today? Built on the shores of the Black Sea, the Sochi Autodrome is a 3.6-mile tour around some of the venues built for the 2014 Winter Olympic Games. Close barriers may make overtakes more challenging, but with 56% of the lap taken absolutely flat out, we certainly won't be wanting for pure speed. A fitting arena then to do battle at the pinnacle of motorsport. With the Grand Prix nearly upon us, Anthony Davidson is by my side once again to offer his perspective. Let's have a chat about McLaren. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Young superstar Max Verstappen starts from pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Norris, Lewis Hamilton and Ricciardo, Perez, Tsunoda, the scientist and Fernando Alonso, Ocon, Gasly, George Russell and Mazepin, Vettel, Matsushita, Antonio Giovinazzi and Kimi Räikkönen, Stroll, Latifi, Mick Schumacher and Valtteri Bottas begins the race from the back of the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Now that we've got some points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
Let's try to do that. But now looking at the strategy, we have 2 sets of softs, 2 mediums, or I think the next best option would just be going straight from softs to mediums. That's also up there as a good potential strategy, but we'll go with the default 2 sets of softs to mediums for now, and we could switch to the other one midway through. But yeah, I think a top 5 would be a decent result for us today, so that is our target as we go to the 5 red lights. And it's lights out and away we go for the Russian Grand Prix, and it's a good start for us versus Tsunoda, as well as Perez and Ricciardo ahead. We don't have anywhere to go though, and we have to slot in behind as Tsunoda makes a few moves though. He's made it 3 wide and gets those 2 positions as we go for a move up the inside as well. We're going to grab those as well, and we've been hit by one of the AlphaTauris and we're out of the race at the first corner. What on earth just happened there? Where did he come from? He carried so much speed into the apex there. How? What just happened there? Look in the background for the AlphaTauri car. It's got 3 wheels on the wagon, and that is Nobuharu MATSUSHITA. Hits myself as well as Ricciardo and Perez getting involved in the incident as well. But what on earth? We're on board, and he's smashed into the back of Sebastian Vettel in the braking zone there, and made heavy contact both with him and with myself, and incidentally catching Ricciardo and Perez in the incident too. But Sebastian Vettel just braking maybe a bit earlier than what Matsushita was expecting. The Japanese driver tries to take avoiding action, but to no avail, and he's just an absolute passenger. With 3 wheels on the car, you're not going to get it stopped, and the collision further up the road was inevitable. Here's the onboard with Nikita Mazepin. He was weaving around and broke probably quite early. There was actually a bit of an air gap in front of him, so Vettel having to respond to that, stamping on the brakes, and Matsushita, the 3rd car in the queue, had no time to react, and well, we are all out. Myself, Matsushita, both out of the race.
Victory for the team from Milton Keynes then, after a quality performance. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
The drivers are en route to the podium as we speak. What a fantastic win for the Red Bull team. They performed exceptionally today, keeping us firmly on the edge of our seats throughout the entirety of the race. Congratulations to everyone at the team.
Well, we may not have seen much of that race, but it was Max Verstappen who took the top prize today. Lando Norris finished up in second position, and Daniel Ricciardo managed to recover to third after being involved in the turn 2 incident. That's a great result for him.
Max Verstappen now leads the Drivers' Championship. So, Anthony Davidson, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
Daniel Ricciardo certainly impressed me today. An incredible performance.
It's time to check out the Constructors' standings. It was a tough race for our championship leaders who lose ground at the top of the table. Meanwhile, good work from Aston Martin this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order. Well, Ant, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Alright, what do we say about that? What a disaster. We're just going to go through some more replays here. Literally all the video, all the replays are recorded because they've got to pad out this video with something. Alonso very lucky to get away with that there. He actually cut the corner, and if he didn't, he probably would have been caught up in that incident because he was sort of near us. But yeah, he cut the corner, and Matsushita went across right behind him. Thankfully for us, Yuki TSUNODA was able to get through, which is good. But yeah, he managed to bring home some points for us. Yeah, he's the onboard with TSUNODA, incidentally, and he was very lucky, admittedly, to get through. He was right in front of the action, but yeah, Hamilton as well, just about getting through. So it's quite lucky that incident wasn't any bigger. But anyway, yeah, it was horrible for all of us. Daniel Ricciardo, like I said, he was involved in the incident. He ended up finishing third after having this at the second corner. So that's not a bad day in the office, all things considered. Sergio PEREZ as well, of course, getting involved. But the strange thing is that this isn't actually the first time I've had an incident like this here in Russia at the Sochi Autodrome. Back, I think it was F2 2018. If I remember right, it was Dorian Boccolacci who went steaming up the inside, and yeah, it took me out of the race back then. So yeah, that was gave me flashbacks of that. That's quite an old video now. In fact, I think I'll try to find the clip, and I'll play it in this here somewhere. But yeah, that was yeah, very much reminded me of that. But anyway, here's a more slow motion on board with Matsushita, and you can see he was moving to the inside, thinking about making an overtake, tucked in behind Vettel, and yeah, he just was not expecting Vettel to brake so early, and you can see the big air gap in front of Mazepin. So yeah, Mazepin definitely hitting the brakes very early, and obviously Matsushita no control there, so that was unfortunate. Oh, and here's the replay of F2 2018 when a very similar thing happened, and yeah, there is Dorian Boccolacci steaming up the inside, and sends us straight into the barriers back then. So yeah, not much else to say about this race, honestly. So yeah, we'll have one final look at the replay from the off-board, and then we'll just move on with the end of the video. How long is this? 20 minutes long. Yeah, that should do. Alright, let's move on.
Good day today. Let's have your take on it. Did you feel that things went well for you today?
Did you watch the race? Like seriously, do you know anything about the sport?
What was the secret ingredient for your performance today?
Let's call it luck, and just leave it at that, I think.
It wasn't the cleanest race today, was it?
No, it wasn't. No.
Appreciate your time.
Well, that was a weird interview. Well, that brings an end to the Russian Grand Prix weekend. About 10 minutes earlier than what I thought it would end, but that's what happens, I guess. Every day, not every day can be a good day, and today certainly was not one of those. We're still beating Hamilton in the rivalry, and we still get 2 of our 3 sponsor objectives. So, all things considered, we come out of this weekend in not too bad a shape, it seems. But anyway, はい、ということで、今回はここまでにしたいと思います。皆さん、ご視聴ありがとうございました。それではまた次回。さようなら。
Good day today. Let's have your take on it. Did you feel that things went well for you today?
we have a lot to get through in
How do you want
terms
us to
of
deal with this one?
this post-race HQ stuff, so let's just get into it. And I can't edit out any of the thinking time, otherwise the video will be too short and it will be obvious that I didn't finish the race. Anyway, now let's start talking about what's actually going on the screen. This is a department event where the team wants Tsunoda to attend some meetings, but of course he already has a busy schedule, so we can either choose to tell him to attend the meetings. That will decrease his experience but will increase the chassis department morale, or we can do the opposite. We can tell him not to attend the meetings and that will have the precise opposite effect, and that will increase his experience and reduce chassis morale. Generally I am favour
Not an easy decision, but you handled it well.
driver stats over the departments, and we are doing that once again. We need to renew our sponsors with XER or ZER and PSD or PST. That's hard to say. Anyway, we do that. No need to even look at that. They've been good sponsors for us, so we are just going to agree with those. Now filling up the timeline, and we are strangely going to start with the chassis department focus, which will boost their morale almost back to where it was. Usually I don't really focus on the morale side of things, but seeing as we just made them a little bit angry with us for denying Tsunoda from those meetings in favour of his experience, I thought I would give them the focus, but as it turns out we actually have time to do all of these events, so actually the choices don't really matter. We can do all of the activities on the timeline between now and the next race, which is the Japanese Grand Prix. But anyway, we now continue through the timeline towards said
Our
Grand
new
Prix.
parts have completed without issue. They'll be on the car ready for the next race weekend.
And we get that Halo upgrade. I think that was rear downforce, if I remember correctly. The brake upgrade not coming through yet. We also get a supplier upgrade on the durability side, so that is always lovely to get those on the car. But nonetheless, we continue further through the timeline, and we have another department event, this time the personnel department. And as always with the personnel department events, I always like to check what my driver's existing stats are and what we may like to focus on. So let's have a quick memorize of those numbers. He's actually quite highly rated at the moment, 91 overall. He's really come a long way in the sport, has Yuki Tsunoda,
We need your input
since he's
on how to
joined our
address
team,
an issue concerning our driver.
and is becoming very much a well-rounded driver. In this case, we can boost up his racecraft or his awareness. We are probably going to go with awareness because I believe that was lower in the menu that we just looked at. So that is what we are going to go. Is he at Monaco? I've never actually really looked too much at that. The screen on the right.
Thanks for dealing with that. The department appreciates it.
But anyway, with that done, we are going to. Oh, what's that? Oh, that's just about the supplier upgrades. But yeah, with that out of the way, we will continue through the timeline, and we have that upgrade, and it fails. That's a front downforce upgrade that we rushed in for the Japanese Grand Prix. Yeah, it was a risk, and it didn't pay off in this case. So yeah, that upgrade failed. Probably not the worst, realistically. We will have one more rear downforce upgrade than front.
Line earlier this week, so the entire development package for the
Yes,
weekend
I know.
has failed. Any redevelopments will need to be ordered from the R&D screen.
So yeah, we'll have one more rear downforce upgrade than front downforce, but at the Japanese Grand Prix that might not actually work out too bad for us, because it is nice to have a very sort of planted and stable car around the Suzuka circuit. So if it was going to happen at anywhere, that is a good circuit to have more rear downforce than front in terms of having an easy to drive car. It will be a little bit understeery, but it shouldn't be too bad. But anyway, that is going to do it for this episode. A bit of a shorter one. I tried to make it as long as possible so it didn't look obvious that something happened on the first, well, basically the first corner. But anyway, that's going to be it. So thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I really appreciate it. Feel free to give some feedback in the comments. It's always very helpful, and I will see you later. Goodbye.